Hey there, friends. Did we just acquire one of the most unlikely allies in regards to defense of the Second Amendment and our constitutional rights? But first, if you guys would go take a look at my friends Gideon Optics. Gideon has some really affordable optics out there, multi-purpose optics. I've actually been running one of their mediator optics on one of my shotguns here recently, and this thing is taking the full beating of everything. But they have a long line of other ones. In fact, I think they're going to be introducing some new optics at SHOT Show this year as well. So go check out my new friends at Gideon Optics. Check them out at GideonOptics.com. Again, GideonOptics.com. Hunter Biden's legal team is asking a judge to dismiss the gun charges against him by claiming that the Second Amendment protects their client. Biden was charged with lying on a ATF form, the 4473, while purchasing a firearm from a Delaware gun shop. He had stated on the form that he was not a user of illicit drugs, which we all know is a lie because he is a lifelong drug addict, and in this case, more specifically, a crackhead and a cokehead. Now, Biden doesn't claim he's innocent of being a crackhead. His attorney claims that the prohibition of gun ownership by drug addicts is inconsistent with the historical tradition of firearms regulations. And he would be right. Who would have ever thought that a Biden attorney would be stating some super constitutional stuff like this? His attorney went on to state, because persons protected by the Second Amendment can no longer be denied gun ownership due simply to past drug use, a practice inconsistent with this nation's historical tradition on firearm regulation, any false statement by Mr. Biden concerning his status as having used a controlled substance no longer concerns any fact material to the lawfulness of the sale of a firearm. He went on to state that, quite simply, asking about Mr. Biden's status as a user of a controlled status is constitutionally irrelevant to whether he can be denied his Second Amendment right to gun ownership. Now, you'll remember Bruen very emphatically stated that text, history, and tradition was how courts would be ruling on Second Amendment-related cases going forward. His attorney further went on in support of the Second Amendment by stating, in truth, the statute is indefensible under the Bruen framework. Daniels appropriately recognized that the framers were well aware of the problems caused by intoxication, but there is no historical precedent for prohibiting gun ownership by persons who had any history of ingesting intoxicating substances. Rather, the problems associated with intoxication were addressed by prohibiting certain conduct while intoxicated. What he's stating here is the Constitution does not say that if you're intoxicated, you can't have a gun. It's saying that if you're intoxicated and not intoxicated, there are laws in place that if you do something stupid, regardless of what your intoxication rate is or is not, you still should be held to account for the laws that you broke, which is accurate. It's essentially stating that why should we prohibit you from buying a gun or having a gun if you were intoxicated? Because not everyone who's intoxicated and buys a gun kills people or commits a crime with it. They're stating here, which is wild that it's coming from a Biden attorney, they're stating here that there are laws in place that if you break them when you're intoxicated or not intoxicated, that are already in place. They're essentially stating with his attorney that the framers knew, why are we instilling new laws when we already have laws on the books for people willing to break the law and commit crime? This is coming from a Biden attorney, guys. Now, guys, I'm in full support of what Biden's attorney is stating here. Never thought I would agree with an attorney for any Biden family corruption mafia member, right? Never thought I would, but I do in this case. I'm curious what your thoughts on this are, because this is not a case where I'm torn. Yes, do I think Biden is a bag of crap? Of course he is. This is not up for debate, right? His own family knows he's a bag of crap. The Democrat Party, all of them know he is. They're just trying to protect the legacy, if you want to call that, of Joe Biden by protecting this scumbag, right? Nobody likes him. Nobody thinks he's of any kind of remarkable character or anything like that. The problem I have is he's treated better. Yes, he has charges against him, but he's also ducking and dodging the full weight of the law. I'm guided, my moral compass is guided by fairness. I think that if you are going to put a law out there, you treat everybody with the same amount of pressure regarding how you implement that law. You do not allow classism, race, wealth, political power, anything to somehow change the way you implement that law and put it in place regarding somebody. Their status should have no impact whatsoever on how hard you go at them or how light you go at them. That's where my problem is. My problem is not the fact that this is something that Biden should not be charged with, because I don't think he should be. However, as long as they're charging everybody else and there's a law on the books, charge him, right? Charge him. The law is there. This lady, this black lady in Virginia, whose 6-year-old took her gun, took it to school, and she got popped because they went back and checked and she had lied about smoking marijuana on her 4473. This is literally the exact same scenario. She's spending time in prison right now for lying on that form. Do I think it's right? No. Do I think she's a bag of crap like Biden? Yes, I do. I think that if there's a law in place like this, that she should serve time and so should Biden. But if Biden's not going to serve time, why is this woman in jail? Why? Why is she sitting in jail, and why was there a fast pace to get her in jail and make this go away quick? But Biden's riding this out, and likely, you can best believe this, Biden will spend no time in jail as a result of this. So neither one of these people, in my opinion, should have ever been charged. But nobody should ever be charged with this kind of stuff. The 4473 asks unconstitutional questions, and it's unconstitutional as it stands. So I don't agree with any of the 4473. Do I think Biden should get off? Yes. If all things are equal, him and everybody else should get off. This should not be applied like this. But I'm tired of the law being used in different ways depending on who people are. The thing that is most ironic to me about this whole process is I do believe Hunter Biden will get off on this gun charge. And I do believe he will get off as a result of Bruen and what this attorney states in this whole thing. I think that this attorney is absolutely correct, and I think he will win. The irony of all of this is, what if we start citing the Hunter case, the Hunter decision, right? Right now we're citing the Bruen decision as precedent, right? Once Hunter beats this, are we going to be citing the Hunter Biden decision to get people off like this? We may very well be setting some very important precedent with this crackhead right now. This crackhead being able to afford really good attorneys. Think about this. This poor lady that went to jail in Virginia because her 6-year-old took that gun, she can't afford good attorneys. Probably had a county appointed attorney. Hunter Biden can afford really good attorneys. And he will probably get off on this because he's paying really good money to really good attorneys. So there's a very good chance that they are going to set some remarkable precedent in regards to the Second Amendment in this type of case. So we may be talking about this for years to come. Just the irony that sits out here as to who it is. You've got the president, if he's even aware that the sun is still shining, that is going to, deep down in his mind, at least 10, 15 years ago when he was still coherent, would have hated the fact that his name is being tied to supporting in such a strong way the Second Amendment. Again, I think this is a great thing. I would love to know your thoughts down below. I get the whole outrage about who he is. This guy should be in jail for a plethora of other things. This gun charge is not the one. The IRS, which again is unconstitutional. Let's move on to something that, okay, his drug use, corruption. There's a whole slew of things that Hunter Biden should be spending time in jail on, not this gun charge. Let me know your thoughts down below.
God save the Queen, man.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
He's over!